St. Patrick's Day. I was waiting for you guys to not acknowledge it today.
Why?
I was going to come out guns ablaze.
Well, hold on. Just
I want
so
to
you
make
know,
sure that I am seen and I am heard. I get 1 day a year.
What's going on, fam? This is Anthony from the Not Offended podcast, the conservative Chicano right here. If y'all could do me a favor, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you could leave a comment, hit the like button, but most of all, if you could hit subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, welcome to Not Offended Podcast. It's your boy Anthony. What's going on? Yes, it's St. Patty's Day. You know what? I expected more green from you. Just so you know, Deshaun, we're off the hook. We got nothing to do with this holiday. It's just already in the blood.
It's in the blood.
But is that an Oakland hat?
Yeah, it's an Oakland hat.
Okay,
Yeah.
shout out, area. There you go. Were you Ace? I know you weren't an Ace fan. You're a Philly fan.
I like the Phillies, yeah, but my mom's a Bay Area person.
Okay,
yeah,
so
she's an Oakland.
so
San Francisco,
it's in the blood. It's in the blood.
Yep. St. Patrick's Day. I was waiting for you guys to not acknowledge it today.
Why?
I was going to come out guns ablaze.
Well, hold on. Just
I want
so
to
you
make
know,
sure that I am seen and I am heard. I get 1 day a year.
I sent my kids to school wearing green today.
Did you really?
Well, I mean, they chose to.
Okay.
But you know what I call that?
What do you call
That's true friendship.
that?
He saw me, he heard me, and I feel felt.
You feel felt. That's great. Just so you know, though, trending over the weekend is there were people protesting in Boston, and they were saying that St. Patrick's Day is racist. So just so you know, for Deshaun and I, we don't have to celebrate today. It's part of the new DEI program, and they're saying that St. Patrick was one of the most vile, racist people ever. I don't know where they got that. But
hey, I'm going to tell you what about Boston. All those people who protested, they didn't make it home safely that night.
But I'm just telling you, so if you don't see us wearing green, it's not that we don't believe in you.
You don't believe in racism.
No, hey,
That's what
you
it
know
is.
what? Okay, so I love St. Patrick's Day. Shout out to all my Irish, just not the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, though. Just so you know, I can't get down with that. But as far as like, just so you know, how Jump Around House of Pain is still. I feel like that's a St. Patrick's Day song, just so you know, and it's still one of my favorite songs. But I have a question for you. Do you eat, is it corned beef and cabbage? Is that what it is? Or what is it, like Irish stew? Or
I don't
like,
need it.
He's from Portland.
Okay,
Let's not forget that.
Well, okay.
You know,
Well, I just thought I'd throw it out there because you know my wife is Irish. Like she went to Ireland.
My wife would be, my mom would be so disappointed in me right now. There are some stuff that they would make, but I don't remember.
Okay. But you know Mandy went to Ireland.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. She went to Ireland. She went to where her...
I did my pilgrimage.
Okay.
me too. I'm American.
So where exactly was your pilgrimage?
He went to the west side.
You went to the west side? Gosh, this is getting worse. Okay, you can't laugh.
Okay, but I can actually trace my family back to Ireland. Like,
I've been to Mexico, so I did my pilgrimage. Sorry. We digress. So Mandy went to Ireland, and people don't know my wife, bro. She's like puro Latina, bro. Like she's Mexican now. Like I try to tell her she's had my last name longer. She's had any other last name. Like let me tell you why. She said, "Babe, I don't like the food in Ireland. It's all really bland." I said, "Honey, that's because you live off Mexican food. This girl could eat Mexican food 7 days a week, all the meals. She's happier to go to Mexico than I am when we get there. She's like, I can't wait to eat the food." I'm like, I always get sick, but she's killing it, bro. She's trying stuff. I'm like, she's the real deal. So, but she made her pilgrimage. So, yeah, St. Patrick's Day. Shout out to all the Irish folks out there. You want to give a shout out to your people over there?
Yes. We're just going to go ahead and end today's episode off of that. Just make sure that we are seen and heard in regards to that.
Whole lot of Irish people drinking today?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're going to shut it down, huh? Shut it down. Green beer.
Yeah. What do they say? It's 12 o'clock somewhere?
Oh, for sure. It's 12 o'clock somewhere. So, okay. I got, guys, I found this one. No. Did I find it? Okay. It was either I found it and sent it to my wife or she found it and sent it to me. But I got to start the podcast. Oh, yeah, this is the Not Offended podcast. We're so happy you joined us. Don't forget to like, share, comment. whatever you want to do. Okay, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, everywhere. Okay, YouTube. Here we go. I found this clip, or my wife found it. Somebody found it, but I want you to watch this clip right here. This is the best.
I took on side gigs, and one of them was smuggling tortillas across the Mexican border.
What the
Paid $2,000 after
They're
gas
tortillas.
because you need a permit, and the restaurant that I was doing it for didn't have the permit yet, and then they just exhausted their smuggling capacity, so they asked me to smuggle them. So I did that for an entire month. Yes, you'd be surprised how there's a market for tortilla smuggling. The best tortillas are in Tijuana. They're handmade. They're vegan. So they were paying me $200 a trip, and then sometimes they would pay me for gas, so I would profit about $200. That helped me come out of my little debt hole a little bit, so I was able to reopen the business again in January.
So you were very much breaking the law.
It's not breaking the law because they let me
smuggling.
through.
Huh?
So technically I need a permit, but sometimes they'd be nice about it. They asked me why I had so many. I told them I worked at a record label.
You lied.
Yes, but they kind of already knew.
What? That doesn't make any sense. Why do you have so many tortillas? Because I have a record label. Oh, well, then you're good.
Okay, what was your first thought watching that?
Mexicans get crazy about their food.
We are.
No, I want the tortillas from Tijuana. I cross the border and go get it. Risk your life because those are the best tortillas in the world. No, the flour's different over there. The water's different over there. No, I need this lady to make it. she has the oven. She has the right butter. The air's different.
Go ahead. What are you gonna say,
Smuggling tortillas.
bro? I
Well,
found my new
I
calling.
was actually I was thinking about side hustles, and I was like, man, that's another one. All right.
You're down.
I'll be gone from Wednesday to Friday every week.
Just smuggling.
Running tortillas.
Hey, Nate's right. You would get stopped less. They wouldn't frisk you. They wouldn't stop you.
I might put some other stuff in the trunk. tonight.
Oh, you're feeling frisky today on St. Patrick's Day. Huh? You're celebrating your day.
Hey,
this is it.
why not?
Once a year.
You get one a year.
Hey, okay, I saw this video, and so Mandy and I were talking. So yeah, I did find it, and I sent it to her. And so I was talking to her. I was like, hey, babe, like I can't see Mandy breaking the law on anything, like unless it's driving fast, because she just likes to drive fast. I can't see her doing it like, lying, nothing. But when I saw this, I looked at her and I go, you know what? If there's one thing I can see you breaking the law doing is you would smuggle you back some tortillas. She goes, oh, for sure. Especially those ones right there. She started going on. And then she goes, I'd hide it around my panza. And she goes, but then it would turn into my panza. So she starts like, she's like, I made a joke. I'm like, that was funny. So, because she goes, I'd eat them all on the way. And I thought to myself, man, like, you know what? Can you see yourself getting locked up for something? Yo, dog, why are you in here? Well, had a little snack craving. Went down to TJ.
Took too many corn.
Right,
Not
no.
enough flour.
About like 10 dozen, tortillas de harina, right? Flour tortillas. And man, I got popped. They gonna make me do 2 to 5. But I thought she had to be lying, but it's real. People will really smuggle they're serious about their food.
It's not stuff I made up. Stuff I've heard.
So so you buying it?
Yeah, people were saying, "Oh, the flour down there or here," or,
Hey.
it's different.
The flour is that's true though. The flour is different. Like when we go to Aguas, they got a little tortilla factory right there, a little shop, and man, you eat them right off. They're just they're so good. This is perfect. We bring tortillas back. They don't stop us in customs, but we bring a dozen or two back. It's good. I'm just telling you, there's a point, but I had to share that video with you because I know you guys being married to Mexicans, you'd understand the struggle is real, and we do take very much pride in our food. Okay, just so you know, because every time we talk about food on this podcast, they come after y'all. All right, especially if you don't side with us.
Okay, so I may or may not have actually gotten some tortillas from Mexico yesterday. Appreciate you. But she didn't bring over X amount, so she wasn't smuggling.
Okay, so not
but I do
smuggling.
think this is
Okay.
The timing is great. I got
Hey, bro, see, I'm
tortillas
telling you,
yesterday.
I'm good for this. Okay, I got a random question of the day. This is real. This is a little personal, but it's real. I got a real legit question. You being from Portland, I'm going to direct this towards you. Okay. In Portland, is it a lot like here in Cali, Central Cal? Okay, Fresno. I feel like, and I feel this very strongly, very passionately, people forget how to drive when it rains. I feel like people forget how to drive. Like we're cruising along, rain starts to fall. Instead of doing 65, we go down to 45. I feel like people don't know how to merge. People get squirrely on their tires. Okay, I'm just asking. Is that my perception? Am I overfeeling it? Or did people really forget how to drive in the rain?
Yeah, people get nervous. They don't know what the rain is here. So,
Okay.
so they're like, what is happening right now? What is it only happens 4 times a year. Like, what is this?
Okay. Am I
Yeah, no, it's a mixture. People get nervous. Some people are too confident, and they're the ones spun out or on the on ramps and off ramps. So
okay.
yeah,
So I'm not losing my mind. This is real.
Yeah, you hear it all the time. You know, the
yeah.
wheels.
It's like, okay, can't take off so hard. Don't take the turn so quick. Also, you don't have to go 35. So
let's find a good medium.
yeah.
Okay. But it rains 365 days a year in Portland.
It rains a lot. Yeah.
So do people drive better in the rain as compared to here?
Drive better in the rain, yes, but they're not good drivers.
So they're just bad drivers in general.
Yeah, Portland drivers are not good drivers. They're slow drivers. That's what I should say. Portland drivers are just slow drivers.
Slow as in speed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, slow
Okay.
as in
They got no place to go.
Or they're all just high and just chilling.
Okay, but like every time it starts raining here, like I have to be on high alert because everybody just is like,
Oh yes, you got to make sure that you're ready to sweat.
yeah, that's what I'm
ready to go.
saying. Like, but it just kills. Hey, leave it in the comments if you guys think I'm tripping. You think I'm wrong. You think I'm too sensitive about it. But I feel like people, like people just forget how to drive in the rain. That's just my thought. That's just anything else you want to add to it? Because I mean, you're the only one that sees, that was born in the rain. Like, you got anything you want to add on that?
Man, I just love the rain.
Okay.
I know you guys don't really like the rain. I
like
love
the rain?
If I get to stay home, if I don't have to go nowhere, I don't mind it raining.
Okay.
If I have to go somewhere, I don't want it raining.
Yeah. See, I'm not.
See, as long as my feet don't get wet, like wet socks are the worst.
That's true.
Okay, so as long as I don't get wet socks, I love the rain.
Okay, well, I'm just not a big rain person, just so you know. Like, I'm a summer person. Like, I don't know, I was built for the heat.
Like Fresno summer.
Oh, it get a little hot, but I mean, I'll do it if I had to
no.
choose.
No.
The only thing I like about the rain is how it smells after the rain. Like, I feel like everything's been
Yeah, you can
cleansed.
see the mountains afterwards.
Yeah, that's
The only
best
thing
part.
bad about the rain is 2 things: wet socks, and it affects your baseball schedule. That's it.
Is baseball a sport?
Oh wow, here we go.
Okay, hey, so we talked about COVID. As you guys know, I believe it is the 16th. Yes, I believe it's in my phone this Wednesday. So what will Wednesday be? The 19th? Is that what Wednesday's going to be? Is the 19th? I believe
19.
that's when it came out that everything had to shut down. No outdoor venues, nothing like that. And I think that's when they came out and said churches were canceled. So this is the 5-year anniversary. We talked about COVID last week. If you missed that episode, go back and watch that episode. We looked at it 5 years, since then. Did a little review on it. Also want to remind everybody, we got our clips episode. I sent my graphics to the designer. We should be getting some merch. As soon as I get an ETA on the merch, we'll do the clips episode. So let's just say quite possibly, if not this Monday, next Monday coming up, or the following, we'll have the clips episode. So get those clips in. If we choose one of your clips, we're going to give you the merch. So we'll have the shirts in-house so we can get your address and we can send it to you, okay? So we want to be able to do that. But shirts are coming, so the Not Offended gear is coming. So clips episode coming in about 2 weeks, okay? Excuse me. So we talked about COVID. We had a comment. I think I sent it to you, Bishop. If you can get that comment up. This comes from Eric Olson. Shout out to Eric. It was a great comment. I just want to read it back. You bring up some very good points, but let's talk about that. Go ahead.
He said, responding to COVID, the beginning of COVID was the beginning of a shifting within the church. Many denominations, churches, and pastors show they are more concerned about the opinion of people than the will of God. They are showing who they serve, and many are choosing to obey man instead of God. Today is easier than at any time in our lives to see who is serving who. This is a shifting of the wheat, sifting of the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, I like his comment, and I think that's because we're in the book of Acts, and we see in chapters 3 and 4, and I think a couple others that they were always told not to preach Jesus, to say, listen, we've come to a point where we'd rather obey God than man, and I felt like he has a point. We did get tested, literally by government. Once again, I stand by this. We have the facts to prove it. We were the only church in town that was fined for having church, that we had to pay a fee, filed it under protest and paid it under protest, but we had to pay it nonetheless. So, and we made that decision that we were going to obey God, and we left it up to the people whether or not they wanted to show up. But there has to come a point where you have to say, I'm going to honor God, and I'm not worried about what man does to me or can do to me. My question to you guys is there a point, a biblical reference or a biblical point where you do defy authority, not in a rebellious, but in a righteous way? What's your thoughts on that, Bishop?
Not in a rebellious but righteous way.
In other words, you're not, the speed limit is 65, but because you serve Jesus and you have angels, you go 85. You know what I mean? Not in a rebellious way, but if they said to you, take the mark of the beast or die, or what's going on in Syria, renounce Christ or die, like in a righteous way. When is it righteous to push against government and say no? And then when is it rebellious? Do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, when they ask you to do something that's, against the will of God, that's not biblical. I guess it should be how you do it. Or I guess that's the issue people are going to have is, what does that look like?
What do you mean? Go ahead.
No, what does it look like? How you disobey authority? Because the people are going to argue and say, well, God put them in authority. So if God put them in authority, then why would you disobey them?
Do you feel we were right in what we did then?
Of having church?
Well, I mean, we had it 5 different ways, but you pick your way, sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But again, it's like this idea. The issue people are going to have is, okay, Scripture says you have this authority, and God has placed them there, and said, then who are you to defy them?
Okay. What was your answer? I mean, I know how I answer people. What would you answer with Newsom giving the color? Remember the color codes and all that? Like what was your? How would you answer them if they were to ask you, hey, you guys are having church and you're not following Romans 13?
God has placed them there, and maybe I'm too far on the side. I mean, I really don't care what they have to say. Okay. If it's unbiblical, like okay. I'm not going to listen to you.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'm probably balanced enough on it.
Okay. What about you, Mike? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, the principle of being unbiblical, immoral, or unethical. And yes, we do believe that people are placed in authority because God has placed them there, whether we agree with their beliefs or we don't agree with their beliefs. But then, there has to be, at some point, there has to be a line that they cannot cross as leaders, when they ask us to do certain things.
Yeah, I love all that. If I could just add a point of clarification and we can move on. When people were coming up to me, because you guys know newspapers, I mean, you saw it all. Where I kept falling back to was every government official, they have to swear to uphold the Constitution. Does that make sense? That this is their, every governing authority has a governing authority. And what everybody is subject to is the Constitution. And what I kept going back to is no governor, no president, nobody has the right to override the first one, which is the freedom to assemble. Excuse me. And so I'm sitting here going, listen, you cannot take away my rights. It's like if the cops are going to, arrest you, they got to read your Miranda rights or else it just gets tossed. Like if you're going to follow law and order, you yourself have to follow law and order. And there's no way you can sign away your rights. And so my thing I kept going back to was I am. Now, listen, if he says for safety we want to limit, okay, I can see how that could be debatable. So we did. But as far as I was concerned, not only was I honoring Romans 13, I was honoring God because I was honoring those in authority. And the ultimate authority is what our nation's founded upon, right? So that's how I was able to say, listen, I'm actually doing more of a biblical stance than anybody else. That's why when it came down to the mask and it came down to the vaccines, I was able to continue to go back to following the Word of God and how the Word of God would have us didact or how the Word of God would have us walk through, the laws of the land. And then the other thing was like, you don't just get to make up laws because you get emergency powers. You don't just get to make them up, whimsically, right? And just be, oh, no, now we can't do this. Now you got to do this. Like, no, man, some of this stuff has to be vetted. You have to have a real reason. Like they were trying to do the whole curfew thing and stuff. Like, nah. So to me, I had to just kept going back to that. And I think that's a very good important part. But this is true. Like you see in other countries, it's going to come a time where you have to put your faith to the test, and it's going to come either you serve Muhammad in Islam or you serve Christ. That's going to cost you something. And I think that's where you go against, because they're the governing authorities. They're in power now. And they said, no, man, I'd rather die. So you can't have a holy defiance. You can. I think back to, and just not to get political, but just give a reference, okay? When Obama did the Affordable Care Act and the lawsuits that came from that, I believe it was Hobby Lobby. I think their last name's Green, the Green family. They took the Affordable Care Act to court, and they actually won. And what they said is, we're a Christian organization, and we are not going to pay for abortions for our, for the people who work for us. We're not going to, for our employees. We're not doing all that. We're not paying for all this abortion stuff. And the Obama administration sued them, and they retaliated with a lawsuit of their own. Went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they said it goes against our moral values, and they won. But what most people don't know is they were willing to walk away from their company if they had lost, because they were not going to compromise their faith. And I think this is very important. And that's what I'm talking about. And, it's not to be used, right? We don't just use it. Well, we'd rather obey God and, I don't have to pay taxes then. No, I mean, it's not that. So does that make sense? We have to use it in balance. We have to be pragmatist about it. And we really have to know the word. So that's where I appreciate Eric's thought on that. But if I could say this, I do believe other things are going to come our way where they try to test the church. And my concern is, I hope the church learn from this, and I hope they're stronger from this. That's all I got to say. That's how I look at it. Okay, so we have some things that are trending, and I before we get there though, I have to give a shout out to your wife. I have to give a shout out to your wife, because she came up with this picture right here. And she told me, I knew in advance before you knew, that she was going to support you yesterday. And look at that shirt, bro. Hey, you know what? It looks like she was doing your funeral shirt right there.
Yep, that she's ready. She doesn't buy any shirts when you die. She's
there
ready.
You go.
Oh,
but
it's all set up.
But better to celebrate you while you're alive, though. You know what I'm saying? She got all the best, like little animations of you. What'd you think of that when she wore that yesterday?
She's the best, man. I got the best wife.
Okay. What'd your kids think of the shirt?
2 out of 3 really liked it. One of them was a little embarrassed.
Okay, you always got the one that's a little embarrassed. You got the one that's a little embarrassed. I thought, shout out to Cassandra. You win Wife of the Month award right there. That's right there. That's a ride or die.
She's awesome, man. I appreciate it.
People were asked to buy it. Like, where can I buy that at?
Did they really?
Yeah.
Hey, Cassandra.
Hey, now
side
we're
hustle.
Now we're
talking.
I do not want to walk around seeing my face on somebody
Cassandra,
else's picture.
I'll buy one. If you got it, Mija, I'll go ahead and buy one. Go ahead.
You gonna wear it?
I'll wear it on the podcast. Cassandra, hook me up. Tell me what you need, all right? Tell me what you need. Go ahead and tariff me right there. Tariff me. We'll get you some money to support the kids. Put it in your Starbucks fund right there. But shout out to Cash. You did a great job. Okay, that's trending now. We're gonna make that trend. Leave a comment box. Hook up the Cook family right there. There you go. Christmas coming early. All right. Hey, you have a whole bunch of people wearing that shirt, bro. It's gonna be great. Mike's our dude. Okay. Hey, if someone made one for you, D, I'd buy one too, just so you know.
Nah,
Yes.
Yes.
No, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm
Yep.
That would be great.
That would be great,
The
huh?
Lord's gonna provide another way. That's for Mike. That's for Mike. They'll sell it.
You don't need that money. You don't need that.
No. I said another way.
So you need the money.
Yeah.
You just don't need it like that.
Yeah, another way.
Oh my gosh. Okay, great. So one of the things that is trending that I thought was interesting, that it blew up. So as you guys know, I've never unfriended anybody on Facebook or anything. So I have a lot of people who are right and left. And one of the big dust ups, and I saw Christians just going back and forth on. It's the only reason, we're talking about, because it's culture and its influence on the church, is Stephen Miller orchestrated the Venezuelan gang members and some other criminals to go to El Salvador on a low-key, undercover flight out of America to the El Salvador prison. Is something they had already set up. And people started going nuts. Well, what about their rights? This isn't a very Christian thing to do. What would Jesus do? It's funny that people always seem to know what Jesus would do. They just, I don't know how they're so in tune with Jesus, but they always be knowing what Jesus would do. You saw all the comments, well, Jesus would have loved them. He would have wrote in the dirt. They're forgiven. And one person commented, well, I think they would have tried to kill Jesus. That's what I think they would have tried to do. So I was like, well, okay. You might be right. But I want to go ahead and show you this clip. I think they have a little clip. Watch this, the flight right here. Watch this.
Tortilla.
Wow, he ain't playing. So people were upset. People are mad. I think we were having a little dialogue that there are some concerns. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Yes, even people I've seen that who maybe they like this still say like, hey, there's still some issues with this. Some human rights issues of people who get caught up who maybe were in a gang, but they just get taken up.
Okay.
Either way, they get caught up. Like you're around them or you're a family member, so you're coming too.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I don't even know who were these people that we sent over, who were they?
Oh, those right now, they said the majority, how I read the statistics, I think it said 90 or 95% were Tortilla de Agua gang members, like known gang members.
They were from there.
Mm-hmm.
From Venezuela.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. They're this is us out. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're from Venezuela, but those are the ones they caught. The ISIS caught already. Known hardened criminals. They sent them. And they said a couple other like cartel members or something. So, but it was the majority of Tortilla de Agua. So like harsh criminals, not Americans. So, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can't send an American. So I don't think any of them are American. So just so you know, but they're not. Some of them did not go back to their country of origin. And I think that's the human rights. That's the problem there. But anyway, so yeah, I could see that was some intense video. I noticed no heads could be up. They're gonna shave you. Like there's a lot of submission there. Like you gonna learn today.
Yeah.
You were saying?
Oh yeah, they, like that prison is wild, man. They've got like. Literally, they sleep on just metal. Like there's no mattresses, no nothing. Like, and then you lose a lot of your rights. Deshaun was right. Like you lose a lot of your rights. There's no like expedited trial. There's nothing like once you're in, like you're in. Now they're not all lifers, but That's a very harsh prison. There's no breaking out of that one. Dude, yeah.
Well, I must have saw there was like 10 cops to every one perp. I mean, that was ridiculous. And they were all armed to the max. I don't think those were bean bag guns. I think those were real bullets. Just throwing that out there, like they ain't playing. So, as an American citizen and as a believer, tell me real quickly, do you have a problem? We'll start with Mike. Do you have a problem with that? Or do you sign off on this, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, 100% sign off on this. Not in a like inhumane way, but I think oftentimes we will look at the criminal and ask about humanity with the criminal, but we don't ask about humanity to people who the criminal has hurt.
Wow.
And so it's like, okay, well, but what about all the people whose doors they kicked in? Okay, what about all the people who they were selling drugs to? What about all the kids' parents who are on drugs because they're buying their drugs from these people? What about those people? Where are we at when we ask about how to help when the humanity comes from that side?
Okay.
Now, granted, I think that I do have a heart for those who are incarcerated. You can ask me about it, okay? Whatever. But when it comes to something like this, and you have known gang members who shouldn't even be in the country to begin with,
okay,
who are over here doing crimes, I really hope that all this footage and all the footage and everything gets back to Venezuela, gets back to El Salvador, gets back to Mexico, gets back to wherever people are coming over, and they say, man, maybe we should think twice before we go over there and do some dirt.
Hard to argue. That's a lot of good points. But Bishop, go ahead. What's your...
I mean, I do agree with Mike and some arguments that I've made before. But I mean, I see that, and I just you feel bad for people. This isn't journalists to be in that situation. But I mean, you heard one of my family members. I'm not feeling bad for you. So I'm saying I don't know the stories behind it. You know what I'm saying?
When it gets personal, it does hit different.
And so I mean, all of us, like Mike said, I know Mike has a heart for people who've been incarcerated and seen people's lives being changed around. So I don't know. It's just that conflict I guess I have in myself that you want to see people, change their life, have the opportunity to actually change their life. And it's like, man, do they have the opportunity there? Again, should have been given an opportunity. I mean, there'll be situations you'll tell me, I'm like, no, they shouldn't get the opportunity. So, but I'm seeing the video. I don't know all the stories, and people can look at us, and I 100% agree with everything Mike said. But someone can look at that, like, oh man, you're cold-hearted, but it's like, no, but it depends on how you're looking at it. What side you looking? If you're looking from the victim side, you're like, no, they deserve this. You're looking from their side, like, man, especially as a believer, you want to see people come to Christ and have a chance to, because it's not over yet. No matter how big of crime, no matter how big a sin it is, you still have the opportunity, and so it's just that conflict you have.
They make them sing worship songs in there.
That's funny. It's probably
they do.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay. Let's talk about this though from a biblical perspective. Is it not God who laid the foundation of righteousness will exalt a nation and sin is a reproach? Is it not Him who even gave laws? I mean, He thought about it enough to give 10 very strong commandments. And then reading the book of Devarim, or we'd call Deuteronomy, we're learning right now, like, He didn't play with those laws. Those laws were legit. And so I agree with you on the perception, but as believers, we got to start with the foundation. If you don't have laws and structure, then you don't have a land and you don't have a people. There's anarchy, there's chaos, and God doesn't function that way. He brings order to chaos, and to anarchy He brings peace. And so, but you got to have a structure, you got to have a rule system. That's the hard part, though, is to navigate. How do we not lose our humanity, our Christianity, when dealing with people? And I think that's where we have to be righteous in our judgments. We have to be righteous in our judgments. And so, in other words, when they get there, I believe we can take care of them in a very Christian-like manner. Just speaking, so to make sure they get their meals and they can get a shower and that there is safety for people, like they're not all killing each other. Like, I think that, but for them to have to sleep on a hard mattress or some sort, hey, that just happens. There's plenty of poor people who are sleeping on hard mattresses. They didn't do any crimes. The only crime they have was they was born poor. So I don't look at that, if that makes any sense. I don't look at that as actual punishment. So I do think you're right. We have to thread that needle, but I think we just have to be more concerned that we don't nurture or foster a calloused heart, that we can remain sensitive to the Holy Spirit, and that there's still a redeemable work that God wants to do in the lives of these prisoners. But I have zero problem with them taking people who are not American citizens, who, matter of fact, did crimes against American citizens, heinous crimes, nefarious activities, and shipping them off. I got zero problem.
The only problem that I have with kind of like mass doing things in such big mass, and we've talked about this even with like the Doge stuff, is that sometimes innocent people do get caught up in it.
Okay, but let me ask you something. But are they innocent if they're here illegally?
Okay, so they're not innocent if they're here illegally. They still committed a crime because they're here illegally. But once
so
I'm
just getting clarification. So you're saying somebody who who is here illegally, but they were just hanging out, or they just happened to be at the wrong place, wrong time. You're saying these people should have got treated.
You're in the same apartment complex with a bunch of other guys.
Okay,
you know.
just so you know, I've got no problem. We don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We don't lump everybody in. I've got no problem if this person was just picked up, and we need to be able to decipher that. I have no problem. We need to be able to delineate that. I agree with you. We need to send the people who have committed the crimes. We don't need to send innocent people. And I know people are going to say, well, they're still here illegally. Okay, I get that. But you can't charge them with all these other crimes if the only crime they're here is just illegally.
Not every punishment's the same for
that's where I'm going.
You being here illegal does not send you to
El Salvador. That's
the worst prison in the world.
That's my point. So there has to be some type of adjudication. Absolutely. I agree with that. But I'm saying these people who've committed the heinous crimes, I have zero problem with them being shipped off. I really don't. Because here's why. when we were in Israel, and one of the guys who we took lost their passport, and we couldn't find it, and I had to go into the police station in Israel, and I'd never been so scared in my life because I was there and I looked up and the sign says, "You don't get to ask for a lawyer. We'll let you know if you need one." And I was like, this is not starting off good. And so when they came out and we had to answer questions, we didn't get to ask questions. They asked us questions. We had to answer them. And I'm like, no, man, I just need to know if anybody turned in my passport. And once you say that, oh, man, get ready for the 21 questions. You're getting interrogated.
Well, I think that's part of my problem even with this. Is I don't trust other countries.
Yeah.
So I'm not. No, American prisons might be too lean for them.
Yeah.
Or maybe they may be too harsh. Over there, I trust America. These other countries, you name any one of them, I don't trust them.
Which, by the way, I agree with you. I'm not.
I say America is perfect. I mean, there's people point out a lot of different issues, but go to another country, see what your rights look like.
I walked out of there, and you know what I thought to myself? I said, they might be coming back for me because I don't know if I answered anything right. I was so scared.
Yeah, that El Salvadorian prison, you're not getting your iPad.
Yeah.
You're not giving that TV time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I agree with you. So I think we all feel the same way. I say as believers, we just got to watch our hearts, and we got to make sure. But above all, we got to make sure punishment fits the crime. That's what we got to be praying for justice.
And there's consequences for what you do, period. In a lot of times people say, well, you got to love them, but it doesn't matter. There's consequences for what you do, even if you love people.
Yeah. And I always want to err on the side of, if I'm going to be guilty of anything, I want to be guilty of loving too much. That's just me. That's just me. Because I'm a big advocate and proponent of nobody gets away with anything. Just when you think you get away with it, you get busted. So
but also if you don't give people consequences, you don't love them. Like Mike's saying.
Oh no,
the victim is that's not you ain't loving them.
You're 100% right. Had that been any one of our daughters, any one of our nieces that got raped and assaulted and murdered by one of them gang members, we ain't got no mercy.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right.
And that's how a lot of people who go to prison, their lives do change, is because they actually had to face the music.
Yeah. No.
So if we love them and we want their lives to change, then you want them to go to prison and get their life changed.
No, you're right. And what I meant by love, is I meant still being able to pray for that person.
No, without yeah.
But you are right. Consequences. Hey man, I tell people all the time. One of the best teachers in life is the consequences from your decisions. You can either lean in or you can keep complaining. But I chose to lean in and learn from some of them mistakes, and which I've said to myself, I will not make that one again. Right when that price is so high. Right. Okay. So, I say Pastor Cook gave the word this weekend. Let's do a little message recap, Pastor Cook. So talk to us. You had a word. Acts chapter 3 was your point of text. Silver and gold have I. Now I was waiting for him to do a little old King James for us, old King James fans over here. But you didn't go to the old King James. It's okay.
No, I don't understand that.
I was out at Chase and Rebecca's church, Together Church in West Sacramento. He preached Acts chapter 2. about being better together when the Holy Spirit fell down. It was incredible. He did a wonderful job. But tell me, playing Monday morning quarterback, anything you do different after 3 services and hearing yourself? Anything you change, switch up?
Yeah, I mean, every service you go away going, man, I wish I would have been able to deliver this a different way, or I didn't stutter, or I didn't, use this word instead of that word. You get tongue tied, and I think Deshaun had mentioned earlier. I think doing a better job of maybe even conveying that as a believer, if you want your life to match God's will and really say yes to Him to the fullness of it, then. Do these things. So like even just setting up my message a little bit different.
I was a bad teammate. I wanted to tell you that. That's my fault.
What do you mean?
I didn't talk to him after service. Because that's something that just hit me, and he didn't have to take it. But I think it felt me telling him that would be a better teammate.
Okay. So you should have told him that after first service. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you were in a shack to his Kobe right now.
No,
you weren't good. Okay.
No. Playing defense.
Good. Was there a point where you felt like, hey man, if they caught anything, I wanted them to catch this one thing? Like, was there something?
Yeah, the last point of just having compassion for others. It's funny that we were just talking about that as well. Just having compassion for others and not forgetting as believers like where we've come from and we've come from places. Most believers have come from a place of transformation. In the sense of like being without hope at one time, or being full of anxiety at one time, or being full of addiction, and now you're no longer that person. But it's important for us to be able to look back at other people who are still in that state and see compassion, see them through the eyes of compassion, and love them, and to want to see a change in their lives. And so I talked about like the importance of fishing for people. Because Jesus told them they would be John and Peter, that they would be fishers of men, and He calls us to be fishers of men as well. And so I'd like to look back to those people who are still in the struggle, and to try to get them to where we are at, which is a relationship with Jesus.
Your boat analogy was great. You do not take a ski boat to go fishing in. You don't take a fishing boat to go skiing in. I thought that was really good. And you have to use the different lures. And it's not immediate gratification when you fish. You got to sometimes troll, or you got to put your bait in the water. I thought all that was really good. Some people, it's going to take a while, and it's going to be a slow, methodical process. And that was good. I thought that was really good. What'd you like about sermon yesterday? What stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, as you were speaking, it just hit me like, man, if I really want God to use me, I have to do these things. Yeah. And the big one that stood out to me was just compassion. Like, you have to see people and have compassion for them, and willing to slow down and stop and see what they're going through, and you can't just blow by people. And I think also you have to be intentional. Like, you have to have like a place. This is where I'm trying to catch people. This is where I'm trying to talk to people. Whether it be a grocery store you go to all the time, and you really like, okay, I'm gonna get to know these people here. I want to know their names and eventually know their family, and like really have a strategy to actually get to know people and have compassion for them and meet them where they're at. And so instead of just going through life, well, God, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll witness to someone, and 10 years later you haven't talked to anyone. Right. So like, if salvation really matters, if the gospel is really true, then we should be trying to get people to come to know Him. And so really be intentional about that.
Yeah, I think both of you are so good. Matter of fact, I'm calling this week's podcast Jehovah's Witness. A little play on words, because we are a witness for Jehovah, right? We are trying to be salt and light. And when I think about that, it's something you said, Mike, I had to write it down. You said the change around us comes from the change within us. And as you change, things around you would change. And that is so true. And I bring this up for a little story, a quick point of clarification in my story here. I wasn't always a Christian. And, I used to do things in high school you probably shouldn't do, and, was part of other activities, extracurricular activities. And so I was known for that. And I was always a little flashy about my stuff. Like, people knew what I did, extracurricular activities and stuff. And it was crazy because I'm going to date myself here. Right at that time, when I made this life change, this conversion, I cleaned out my locker. I cleaned out my stuff. I cleaned up my wardrobe. And one of the first shirts I bought was Jesus lifting up the cross, but he was swole Jesus. I served me a swole Jesus. Okay, I don't know what type of Jesus you got. Apparently, you got that white Jesus with the fluffy hair and his little BG look going on. I got the swole Jesus.
That's the right one.
Okay, but I'm saying I got the swole Jesus, the one you're gonna see up in heaven, all swole. He has the cross on his back. It's like delts, biceps, like he's swole. And it says bench press this, his pain, your gain. Like, I mean, it was all. That was my first shirt I wore. I was like, this is my shirt, right? This represents the Jesus I serve right here, right? And I'll never forget wearing it to school, and everybody was tripping. Like, it was an immediate statement. And sure enough, and in my other hand was my Bible. I had my backpack on. I had a Bible. I haven't even read the Bible. I don't think I even opened it up yet. It was brand new student Bible, NIV, right? But I had it, and I was carrying it. And I was the talk of the school that day. What is up with Chopper? What's going on? People still remember that. They still remember that. I went to my high school reunion. People were talking about that. We remember when you changed. And like, we were Christians too. And I was at the table with one of my friends from high school, and they told me they were a Christian. And man, sometimes I just say something, and then I'm like, I feel bad because I say it because I didn't even think about it. And when she had said, "Hey, I'm a Christian," I was like, "You were? Man, how come you didn't tell me about Jesus?" I just went in on her for like a whole solid 5 minutes. Like, I was dying to go to hell. You didn't even care. And I was like, you wasn't a Christian. You was out there partying. Like, I mean, I felt so bad afterwards. I was like, here, I'm at a reunion. I should have kept it, somewhat as a pastor level, So anyway, but we talked afterwards. We good. But I was just thinking to myself, this whole radical change, people started to notice the difference, the teachers, the coaches, everybody. And that is so true. The change around you comes from the change within you. And you shout out my boy Elias. He'll tell you. I weathered the storm with him, and I remember one of the first things he said to me was, "You'll be back," because we've all tried that Jesus stuff. You'll be back. You'll be doing what we're doing. You're gonna be back. And I remember bumping into him at the gym, still wearing that same yoke Jesus shirt right there, bench press this. And he ran. I said, "Man, you don't look happy, man. It's not working out for you." And I just witnessed to him in the gym. And next thing you know, he's asking me, "Hey, where you go to church?" And, next thing you know, he's getting saved and ends up a pastor, all this stuff, right? I got so many of these stories because here's the funny thing, being a witness. A lot of people think it's about your words. It's about your actions. I've had, I think for sure it's 2, and I want to say it's 3 or 4, but I know for sure because no, it is 3 for sure because the other person just popped in my head. I wear some of my shirts. Shout out Santi, always getting me these Jesus shirts, right? And so they're my gym shirts. I'm gonna go rep. I don't care. It's an adventure shirt or a Jesus shirt. This is my gym shirts. And I need to get my swole Jesus shirt back. And on the back, put capital gains, hashtag, like I'm getting gains. Anyway, so this guy stops me, and I'm in the middle of a set, and he goes, "Hey, man." I bumped into him already at the guy we buy shirts from. And he stops me and he goes, "Hey, I don't know what made you put that shirt on, but you're a witness. You're a light everywhere you go. People recognize." And he goes, "So whatever, led you to put that shirt on, that's God." And I joked with them. I said, "Yo, dog, to be honest with you, I set my clothes out every night before because I'm too tired in the morning to pick." And he goes, "See, God already knew, but that shirt right there." And I said, "It's something about you may serve the goat, but I serve the lamb." It's about, because the whole top on the goat thing. And it got me thinking about your message yesterday. Listen now, you're always fishing. If you call yourself a believer, you are always fishing. And people are watching you. I can't tell you when we were turning in that change for Aguas, right? When we were turning that change, I must have had a dozen conversations. And I was always fishing. Hey, and they would always say, "Oh, you're so good." I'm not good. I am not good. God is good. My church fam is good. I'm just the messenger. These kids gave because they believe in what we're doing. Well, what are you doing? Well, we're helping kids in Mexico. So everywhere you go, you're always, ask Manny, we're in the car listening. I was like, everywhere you go, baby, fishing. Everywhere you go, you got a different lure. You got a different bait in the water. Everywhere you go. Some you real quick, so you're jigging, right? Others, you're just trolling. It's real slow. It's relational. But we're always fishing, Mike. We're always fishing. That's why you got to watch your walk. That's why you got to watch how you treat your barista. You got to watch how you treat your clerk. You got to watch how you treat your grocer. You got to watch how you treat your McDonald's employee. You got to watch. People are always watching. And if you got any type of social media ministry, people are always watching. But you're always fishing, Cook. But that change starts here. and people are going to see it. You will dynamically affect every place you step your foot in when you're a believer. You will change and shift atmospheres because of how you treat people. So thoughts on that? That's what I got from your message, man. I went on a whole thing on it.
Yeah. I think you should have done it. that was good. One of the things that Deshaun had touched on, and you kind of went off on it as well. It's like you have to have at least a place where you're intentionally, like everybody's always watching you, but you should have a place where you're intentional. Like I'm here intentionally that people know that I'm being a witness, like in the sense of like I'm a Christian. People know that I'm a Christian here. I'm trying to get people to go to church. I'm trying to get people to hear me out. I'm trying to see that I'm trying to have conversations where people know that I'm different. I'm not trying to move fast. I'm trying to go slow.
Yep.
I want people to know me, and I want them to know them. One of the things I try to do at the gym is make sure that people don't know I'm a pastor.
It does end some conversations pretty quick.
Man,
yeah.
The other day, one of my pastor buddies at the gym had introduced me to a guy
as a pastor. Game over.
And so then I'm in the sauna, and this guy's next to me, and we had just been introduced like 20 minutes earlier, and so everybody's quiet in the sauna. Like I'm just quiet. I got my headphones on at the time, and he turns around and he goes, "Hey, so where do you pastor at?" And I was like, "Dang, dude, you just blew it. You just blew it. Like you
gotta
just,
go to another
you jumped
gym.
out of the boat, and all the fish just went running away." But I mean, for me, like that's my place is in the gym, and I go slow, and sometimes I don't get the workout that I want to get in. And it's funny because I find that whenever you speak a message, you live it before, right? So Saturday I was at the gym. And one of the guys, this guy named Ralph, was working there, and usually Ralph and I would just say, "What's up?" But he wanted to talk, and like we were like talking.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, "I got to go." Like this is a long conversation, and I just felt like the Lord was like, "You need to slow down.
Yep.
Like if you're gonna talk about it, you better live it."
Yep.
So, all right, okay, all right. I'll slow.
What'd you think, Bishop? What'd you think about all that? You agree?
Yeah, it's something I have to work on just in public and talking to people, being more social and more approachable. And so, everywhere I go, the gym, again, I was like, I like to go to the gym and work out.
Yep.
People like to
limited
talk.
Limited time.
Yeah, some people like to talk, and I was like, all right, I can, and they need Jesus too. So I was like, I got to work on it. And then even in stores, there's people I found out later on, people who see me go to my church and they're like, well, Deshaun doesn't look at me and say nothing to me. And to my wife, I'm like, dang. So yeah, so I'm working on. I'm trying to get better. Like I got to get better. Cause you're saying people see you either from the podcast or on stage, and they want to know that you actually love them, not just when you're in front of a microphone. Well, so I got to make sure.
Let me ask you just real quickly, just because you mentioned, people do make judgments about you and how you treat other people. They watch how you treat other people. They make a judgment about you.
Yeah, for sure. And then also,
and do you blame them for that though? I don't blame people for that.
And then I also represent the church, and I was like, man, those pastors are fakes. That what I'm doing affects even you guys in the church, and what Adventure Church is. Adventure Church, man, they're pastors, and so it's like I got to be careful if I want this role. If this is what God has called me to be, I got to make sure I have the responsibility that I am going to be like loving no matter where I'm going to be, no matter even if I'm not mad at anyone. But just be approachable, compassionate, moving slow,
Amen.
Willing to look at people in the eye, and if they want to talk, I'm willing to talk, no matter where I'm at.
And let me speak some truth on something real quick. I do not get mad at people if they see us treating another person disparagingly or rudely. I do not get mad at people if they make a judgment, because that's not how we are called to live, and I don't blame them for that, because we shouldn't be doing that. I say that because yesterday I went up to West Sacramento, and I went to Pastor Chase church, and I'm going to show you guys a clip here in just a second of the altar ministry. Had about 20 people down there giving their hearts to Christ for the first time. It was incredible. And shout out to Adventure Church and to everybody who gives. Somebody's got to buy that boat, Mike. Somebody's got to buy that fishing pole. Somebody's got to buy that lure. Somebody's got to buy that bait. Somebody's got to buy that fishing line, the gas. Think about all that stuff. right, that people got to purchase. And our church has been financially supporting Together Church in an unbelievable way. And yesterday I got to sit back and watch God bring in a harvest of what the seeds we have sown. It was absolutely incredible. So shout out to the best church around, supporting other churches that the gospel might be preached. And yesterday, real quick, we wanted to bring Becca, that's his wife, some flowers, and we're going to get him a card, a little gift card, you know, a little celebration present, like an open house, you know, a little something. And walked into Safeway, and of course, you guys always know you're rushed for time, and there's going to be one checker in the world's longest line. You know it's just set up that way. And I'm already a little bit behind, just a little bit of traffic, a little bit getting lost, you know, just accidental stuff. But we made, you know me, I left early enough to provide for that, but I didn't equate the 7 people for one checker. And all of them look like they just went grocery shopping for the week. You know what I'm saying? And you know, someone's got
That's
coupons.
some Walmart stuff, not Safeway. Not
Safeway. Thank you. It's some Winco stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then old girl's still cutting coupons out. I know I'm in trouble. So y'all know now my little anxiety, my little blood starting to get there. Bless her heart, the checker. You know, grandma been there for a few years. She's doing the best she can, but she's just moving slow. Sunday. I ain't mad at you. I get it. And we've all worked in the grocery business, but you know, it's just because of me. You know, it's got nothing to do with nobody else. And I could just feel it. You know, certain grocery stores got a vibe. Winco's got a vibe. Costco's got a vibe. Safeway got a vibe. Vons, okay? So I could feel this now. I turn around and there's 3 people behind me now. And now you can feel their stuff. Oh, really? You know what I mean? And so you know what? I just put a smile on my face. I choose joy because the Bible says you have to choose joy. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be upset. We're going to get there when we get there. And I saw the lady at the self-checkout. I always go to self-checkout. I'm good with that. But I had a gift card, and you normally can't do it. I walk up to her. Desiree was her name. I said, excuse me, ma'am. I said, just a real quick question. I'm sorry if this is out of pocket, too. I don't know who to ask. But can I do a gift card? You know, I know you're busy, too. But can I do a gift card right here? She goes, you know what? How about I ring you up right here? So she got that gift card, just a couple items. I said, would you? Thank you so much. So just being polite and cordial.
And then they jumped you for cutting the line.
No, because self-checkout was open. Like, everybody could have got it.
Oh, see, so, I always go self-checkout.
Yeah, everybody could have got it.
Gift cards you can't buy at self-checkout.
Yeah.
That's right.
Safeway is a different crowd.
Yeah.
Too, so
but you can't do the gift card.
Yeah. They just looked at you.
But here's what's even crazier. So she overhears Mandy going, oh, we need a pen. And because, this is my opinion. I could be wrong. But I felt like because we were so cordial already, you know, just joking around a little bit, she goes, hey, I have a pen. And I threw the quick joke in, well, I promise you won't steal it. She goes, man, how'd you know people always stealing my pen? I said, I know because I've done this before. She goes, and I like this pen. I said, we're going to fill it out right here and give it right back. And so you go further with kindness. And my thought was, I don't know if she's going to end up at Chase's church, which is literally less than a mile down the street. And so my thing is, you got to know that you're a witness. And you don't know who's watching or what. And I think this is so important. And so I want to show you this clip. Not that she showed up in it. I'm not saying it for that reason. But it just got me thinking everywhere I go, I need to make sure I'm walking out my faith. But watch this clip from yesterday's service. If we can get that one, Nate. Look at this. Look at the altars. It's packed. So proud of Chase. Watch this. It's just real quick.
God is kind. And how deep his love is for you.
Hey, isn't that incredible? Wasn't that just incredible? You like that? Isn't that good? But that's an extension of us. That's why we've had him. That's why we sold those shirts. That's why we took up the love offering. And to watch that, they had they had a little over 400 people on their launch day. So go ahead and look them up on Instagram, Facebook, togetherchurch.co. Man, and if you're ever in the West Sac area, we had people from Adventure there yesterday. So we had people, I think we had like 6 or 8 people from Adventure.
That's cool.
Yeah, they all came and saw me right away. And so it was really cool, man. I was so excited. But that's us. That's an extension. This is that Book of Acts type stuff right there. That's like Timothy, you know what I mean? Like that's like Titus going to a place. I was super excited about that. Okay, so I have one last question. This comes with a little bit of a story. How do you guys handle, and I didn't handle it right, so this is a little knock on me. How do you handle people who are trying to witness, but it's witnessing gone wrong? Dun, 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 dun. Witnessing gone wrong. So I'm in Stockton, Okay. And y'all know Stockton is just different. Well, y'all don't know this. I'm telling you, Stockton is just different.
So you tried to steal a car to witness.
No,
Okay.
but that's not out of the scope and spectrum. That's a possibility. But this happened a while ago, and I'm at the gym, and I'm on the treadmill. I'm actually listening to the Bible because that's
In Stockton?
yeah.
Okay.
And this is I like to listen to the word. Like I like to get a lot of word in me, right? And this guy, his name's Lonnie, my brother Lonnie, come up to me, and he just walks right up to me on the treadmill. I don't know him. I ain't never met him. Like not like we go way back. He's an older gentleman. He's probably in his late 60s, early 70s. And he's got on his But God shirt. And he's got God's property on his hat. Like he all got it out. And he comes up to me and he says, folks don't be knowing. And I said, okay, brother, what's up? He goes, man, everybody going to hell if they don't get it right. I said, brother, I'm listening to the word right now. He goes, that's what I knew that was you had the light in your eyes. Then he goes, S-H-I-T word. Yeah. I'm like, all right, brother, yeah. Just listen to the word. Yeah, hold on, this gets better. This is better. He goes, man, the Lord done saved me. I'm over here trying to save people's ASS from going to hell. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, I know they get tired. They see this black man walking around here preaching to everybody. They're going to get tired of Lonnie. Brother Lonnie. But one day, I'm going to be in the gym, and the Lord just going to rapture me. And then he'll be like, where's Lonnie right now? And he says to me, I kid you not, he goes, his black gone. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is Stockton, though. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, he might be a prophet. I don't even know. Like, I'm just tripping. And I'm not saying that. I'm not egging it on. I'm just listening. And I go, okay. He goes, I tell these youngsters, put on some clothes. Got half your stuff hanging out over here. He just starts going off. And I'm like, this dude is he's going for it. He goes, but I got to keep the love of God in my heart. So I just tell them, they got to go to church. I said, but you got to be watching some of them churches you go to. They preach that false. And he starts cussing again. And I love him. You know me. I'm as cool as that side of pillows. I ain't tripping on that. So we talked for like another 20 minutes of just going back and forth on Revelation, spirit of the Antichrist. Everybody an Antichrist to him. And we say goodbye. He goes, okay, I got to go talk. He just walked in. I got to go talk to him. I've been working on him for a while. And so, okay, bye. And sure enough, he's talking to all these people. So here's my question. Do you think he's being effective? Like, I mean, he's mixing in some cussing and some other things. Do we think or is he doing, or is he just doing what he can do? Is he just fishing? And he just help me out, man. I felt like part of me felt like I should have corrected him a little bit. Like, hey man, we don't gotta use such language. But the other thing was like, he's an elder. I don't know. Help me, Bishop. I was confused. What should I do, Bishop?
Ask what church he goes to. First start.
What? Then email his pastor.
Well, if he's that old doing that, he probably gonna go to church. They don't preach the word like they supposed to. Church ain't like they used to.
Yeah.
He knew a lot about the Antichrist, though. Everybody was going to hell.
Yeah, how often they talk about the Antichrist in church?
Okay.
He watching YouTube. Because they got to be there's some genuine people out there who come to Christ and ain't got all the language right.
Okay.
Right away. And so, but they need people in their lives to help them get it right.
Okay.
And so you want people to have some fire, but they need some direction.
He did.
Everyone needs to get discipled.
But bro, he did go. When I was there, low key, I'm being honest, like honest. I was only there maybe hour and 10, 15 minutes most. He talked to at least 5 or 7 people.
Yeah, so it's like,
I mean, every time I turn around, he was on somebody.
The guy on the street corner, he needs someone to disciple him.
Okay.
He needs to hey, let's not talk about, hey, you're just going to hell all the time. There's something else.
Everything going to hell, huh?
Hey, but I mean, people have passion and go do stuff like that. I mean, that's cool. You have that passion. Have someone there to disciple you to help guide that passion.
Should I have corrected him though, or did you just?
No. He probably want to hear that from you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just kept listening though.
I mean, unless you feel like God told you to, I would just.
But I just kept lifting it, and I'm not gonna lie to you because you know me already. Some of the time I laugh with him. Like I tried not to, but it was funny. Like it was really funny. Like I would be in there in the middle of a set and just be my clothes there, my drawers just gonna be hanging there, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. I would just make sure he was in church.
Okay.
And hey, are you in church? Make sure you're in church. Okay. You're getting discipled.
Okay.
Lonnie.
Some of it was funny though. Like it was like when he started talking about the girls in the clothes. I I couldn't help it, man. I just okay. Which did I handle it right, or should I have said a little something? What should I have done?
Yeah, I mean, you saying something's probably not going to correct Lonnie.
Okay.
You know, in the sense of like getting him to change. But he definitely needs discipleship. That's the beautiful thing about people like him is that he's going to be able to reach people who he probably can't.
But do you respect that boldness? I respect the boldness.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I absolutely respect the boldness. He's just got to tame it a little bit.
Doing too much.
You're doing a little bit too much.
We got to bring it down a couple notches.
You're making some of us look bad here, Lonnie.
You got to bring it down a couple notches?
Yep.
Okay. I meet the most interesting people. I must have do I have an approachable face?
Well, if you're at Lowe's or Home Depot,
Bro, you have been with me. That's no joke. Like people think I work everywhere.
We were at
this one.
We were at Sam's. Remember, I think it was the last time we were all together at Sam's, and he's over here ringing somebody else. You use that example, not often, but often, and I'm like, but it's true.
It just happened at Costco. Like hey, can you help me with that? Oh, of course I can help you with that. Oh, thank you so much.
But you also play along with it.
Bro. Hey, I might get a job one of these times.
I guess you could get mad. Do I look like I work here?
I could, huh? But I might get a job one of these times. Okay, so that was so good. The reason I bring that up is I really want to encourage people to really think through. And I'm not going to use the word change because I don't know what needs to be changed. I'm not the Holy Spirit, okay? And so I want to leave this segment about being a witness for Jehovah, right? Being God's witness. I just want you to think through how you deal with people and how you interact with people. I'm not going to be the judge, the arbiter of truth, and if you're doing it right or if you're doing it wrong. I just want you to think it through. I just want you to pray about it. There are some times you're going to have to come a little bit harder with people to get them to wake up. And there's sometimes you're coming with too much heat. And so too much transparency at the gym, right? But I do think I would ask everybody to pray about it and think through. That's how I want to leave that because I don't think it's a cookie cutter, if I could say it that way. Your fishing illustration again. The way you catch salmon is not the way you catch bass. Right? So I just think that's important. That's what I was trying to get to. And then, but in all things, I think we could agree. You got to kind of watch your language though. Is that okay? Are we safe? You're going to have to watch that. Don't want to hear about your draws when the Lord raptures you, okay? I did that laughing. Okay. So I have something that I always like to end off with a clip that just kind of motivates us, challenges, makes us feel good. I didn't have a chance to do a lot of research into this, but this is the second clip I found. The other one was just for me. And it's about retraining your brain, remapping your brain, basically to really push yourself and to challenge yourself. We might have to listen to this twice, but let's lean in on the first run. We're not going to speed it up or anything. But I literally believe in this just from my own personal experience. That's why I probably didn't research it the way I should. But I want you to check out this clip. I think this will help some people.
Most people don't know this, but there's a brain structure called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. But what's interesting about this brain area is there are now a lot of data in humans, not some mouse study, showing that when people do something they don't want to do, like add 3 hours of exercise per day or per week, or when people who are trying to diet and lose weight resist eating something. When people do anything that they, and this is the important part, that they don't want to do. Right. It's not about adding more work, it's about adding more work that you don't want to do. Yes. This brain area gets bigger. Yep. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex is smaller in obese people. It gets bigger when they diet. It's especially large or grows larger in people that see themselves as challenged and overcome some challenge. In many ways, scientists are starting to think of the anterior mid-cingulate cortex not just as one of the seats of willpower, right, but perhaps actually the seat of the will to live.
That's absolutely incredible, and let me tell you why. The reason I clipped that and I wanted to share it with you guys is because I'm reminded in the book of Judges where it says God intentionally left giants in the land, people in the land, people who they were going to have to fight against so they could teach them how to war again, so he could teach the younger generation. And I think if everything is handed to us, if everything is given to us, if everything is presented on a silver platter with a silver spoon, then we don't appreciate the struggle. It's in the midst of the struggle that you find out a lot about yourself. It's in the midst of a struggle that you develop deep character. It's in those times of struggling that you literally develop this part of your brain that says, listen, you can overcome, you can triumph, you can persevere, you can run this race with great perseverance. and you could press through and you could see the fruit of your labor. You could see the other side. And every great leader has to be challenged, must be challenged, or you will never develop into a great leader. I absolutely agree with this. This is what most people don't want to do. They don't want to pay the high price of what it means to be disciplined, but yet they get very disappointed when the bill of regret comes in, because she will come in. You will always have to pay that bill. If you think this price is too high, you just sit tight and you wait, because the bill of regret is coming. But if you are willing to press in, you're willing to develop the side of your brain, you're willing to say, listen, I will push in the hard times. I will lean in. I will do what I physically don't want to do or what I feel mentally I can't do. I will do that. I will overcome. You become an unstoppable person who doesn't make excuses. You just make it happen. And I think that's what's going on right now. We need more people who understand you got to lean in. That's what we always call, you got a lean in moment right here. Don't duck it. Don't run from it. Lean into it. And this is what separates great people from just normal people. This is what separates wheat and chaff, if I can say that. This is what's going to make you tougher than hell. It's going to make you spiritually strong. So that's what I thought of that clip. What'd you think of that clip?
Yeah, I mean, I think that even in my own life, the more that I've done things that I don't like to do, the more growth that I've seen. I mean, even like you talk about like going through school. I think oftentimes, people get a degree, let's say like a college degree, and a lot of times it just shows whether or not you're willing to stick it out. You don't even end up using your degree.
That's true.
But an employer sees it and says, yeah, you stuck through 4 years, you stuck through 6 years of doing stuff that you probably didn't want to do. And so I looking at like whether that be what time I go to sleep, the things that I eat, my physical routine, the more that you say no to things that you want to say yes to, I also see how that exponentially grows, whether that be confidence or that just be the things that you actually see that change gives you an excitement to continue to say no. But I do see how growth happens in those times.
But you, Bishop?
Yeah, I mean, I had someone just recently, like yesterday, came up to me and talking about, man, if I can't give up sweets, how can I obey God?
Wow.
And so this idea of like this discipline and this idea of like, fasting for God, it builds this strength in you to actually live for God, and you see this spiritual benefit from it. So using these physical things to see, so you can actually do what God has called you to do, even though it did not even be related, but it builds a strength in you. I know for me, like when I go on a diet, that first week's the hard week. After that, it's like cake. And I think like he's right. Things become easier and easier reading your Bible. If you can make it after a certain point in time, if you can wake up, that first week, 2 weeks, may be very difficult. You're just trying to wake up and try to read a verse, like whatever it may be. Like, but eventually it becomes easier and easier, and you'll see benefits of it in the spiritual. I think if we're physically willing to actually say no to ourselves and build up these disciplines, we're going to see different things happen in life, whether it be your marriage or with your kids, physically, church, like your relationship with God, your prayer time, all those things. If you're just willing to start and really build up those habits, you're going to see the benefits of it.
Great words, gentlemen. I just want to end off with this. Going back to your message and tying this in, I think the first step you could take if you're going to be an effective witness is just live different. Go to work tomorrow. Before you eat your lunch, just say a quick prayer. Close your eyes. You don't even have to do it out loud. Close your eyes, fold your hands, let people see what you're doing. If they start to gossip at work, just walk away. You don't even got to say nothing. Just walk away. Hey, why'd you walk away? Hey, just right now I don't want to hear anything. I'm trying to serve the Lord. Just start to live different, and people will notice. If you're on the freeway and someone's getting ready to cut you off, just back off and let them in. If you're at the grocery store, you got but a few items, or you got a lot of items, the person behind you got a few items, let them go in front. Just start to live different. It's those small little differences, those nuanced things, if we could put it that way. People are going to notice a difference. And then sooner or later, someone is bound to come up to you and say, hey, man, there's just something different about you. And that's when you can start to share your faith. Yes, it's because I've been born again, baptized, I believe in God, and I'm trying to allow him to live through me. Why? Because for me to live as Christ and to die as gain. I'm really trying to be Jesus's hands and feet on this earth. This has been the Not Offended Podcast. Peace. We're out.
This is Anthony from the Not Offended Podcast, the conservative Chicano right here. If y'all could do me a favor, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you could leave a comment, hit the like button, but most of all, if you could hit subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.